Week, the mother of all shows, news, and a tip on drawing with artificial intelligence. I'm Phil,
I'm Casey.
and this is Developer Antics. Very good. That's all we needed right there.
Yeah, we just have to mark where we want to put the.
Yep. Just that's so. If you listen to the podcast, the audio, right? We put the theme song in.
Right.
We could do that here if I had more equipment and a sound guy.
Which if we had a sponsor, maybe
if there was a budget, we could make this happen.
We could maybe make that happen. But instead, you get to watch me air guitar
right.
very badly.
That's right. It's all good. I did that last week.
That's right.
Also, apologies. Last week didn't make it online onto the YouTube channel because I forgot. Excuse me. I forgot to upload the video.
Oh, okay.
Right, and I left it here on the desk. Left the card. So now that I have that, I will upload that and this one. So you get two episodes for the price of one. Also, because we want to try to make this show as most convenient for everyone,
right?
We are aiming for a 20-minute show overall, both
That's
audio and video, so you get the whole thing.
And we're going to try and make that the new format, unless something happens that makes that impossible. Like we take 3 weeks off again.
Right, which hopefully won't happen.
Which hopefully won't happen. We have a plan if that does happen.
We do. Plans are good.
Okay, so let's jump into it. Security.
That's right.
This is really kind of age-old advice. But this week, very bad zero-day exploit happened with the Microsoft Word program.
This was, and what's crazy about this is, they were super successful with it.
Oh, they were hugely successful.
Yeah.
And the age-old advice, this actually has been the advice for years.
Mm-hmm.
Years. Like when I first started playing with computers, the rule was don't open files that you don't know.
Right.
But what it is there was a zero-day exploit in the Word where they could actually send booby-trapped, malware-infected files and get those to execute on your computer by you opening up a Word document.
Yeah. So kind of one of the old school. It reminds me of the old what were they, macro type viruses?
Right.
So this is one of those same type. It's an older one. It's been around for a while, but
with extremely it's brand new. Like this,
the method was new. The idea of the old
totally.
But this new one, like we said, it's a 0-day, which means it is a huge vulnerability that has not been patched. Well, was not patched at the time. It is good now.
Right. And basically, it was just installing these horrible rat-type, remote access Trojan-type malware. Other payload, like just a crap ton of old malware got new life through this exploit.
And it reminds me of how you treat your phone, right? So a number comes up, you don't know who the phone number, who it is.
Yeah.
So you screen it.
Yeah.
You wait for a text. You wait for them to leave a voicemail. If they don't do either, you ignore it because it was probably a scam.
Right. Same thing actually with your attachments. Really, you should not be opening attachments.
Yes.
Unless the person who sent it to you.
Yeah, and
you're expecting it.
Yes, it's the expecting it is very important because there's a lot of documents that get faked or spoofed that look real that are totally not.
True. In our continuing war between man versus the squirrels for cyber warfare, man has scored one.
Way to go, man.
Hackers set off the emergency sirens Friday night in Dallas.
Oh, yeah.
For several hours.
And it was like night. Wasn't it like 1 a.m.
It was night? It was night.
And so they have these emergency sirens, and they were all hooked up into the network so that, in case there was a tornado, flooding, whatever warning.
Exactly. Whatever kind of mass warning needs to happen.
Yeah.
We can alert these, and they do the sirens. I know our city has one.
Right.
And by our city, I mean the one where I live, which is Minden. I don't know whether Logan has one. I imagine they probably do.
I can't remember if they do. I know that the other South End Valley city does, because that's how they used to get the volunteer firefighters to call in to come.
Right. Yeah. That's what we use ours for too.
Yeah.
But it's all. It all goes back to you need some kind of public alert system that everyone can hear.
Right.
And that's what these things are for. Well, these are all now internet connected, and apparently Dallas's are not well
secured enough. Yeah,
they are pretty well now, but it's kind of funny that did happen. Yeah, every single siren in the city went off.
All of them.
So people are up one now in my book.
That's right.
That's a successful.
That's right. We are catching up to the
attack.
Squirrels. I mean, we're losing, but we're attempting to catch up to the squirrels.
I like GameStop, and I shop there a lot, so this one's somewhat concerning.
Yeah, I've had a love hate relationship with GameStop and their business practices and things.
Well,
but what's going on overall here? I mean, as far as game stores go, it's probably your best option these days, because I mean, if you're not getting it off Steam, you're not really getting it anywhere else. I mean, you got like Best Buy, and GameStop.
Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, GameStop has announced that they actually have a data breach that compromised credit card info between September 2016 and February 2017. So, kind of through the Christmas season, if you did any shopping at GameStop, your credit card number may well be.
It may have been compromised.
Yes,
they said that they found that some of the information was being sold on a website. Which I don't know if they know if it's legitimate information or if someone's just labeled it and brought it from other hacks that have gone through. I can't remember if we talked about Arby's. Arby's was hacked a couple of months ago. So I mean, the similar type of thing going on here.
Right. Well, the really the one that I'm curious about is that it says that it has the 3-digit security code, which makes me go, are they storing that? Which I thought was like a big no-no.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I'm pretty sure that that's a big no-no, and they may be like, I'm reading the article and thinking, I kind of feel like there's like a bigger problem here than this little breach. Anyway, so if you did shop at GameStop, be sure and do all those things that you should be doing anyway.
Here's the other thing, and they do mention this. It may not have been a physical store. It may have been the online store, and they may have been something that the hackers or whatever put on the system to screen read, keylog, whatever, to report to them before they passed it through, which would be really interesting to build a gateway that piggybacks on another e-commerce gateway.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be interesting to see how that was hooked up there, or I wonder how many developers are being interrogated at the moment.
Right.
But it's something you will need to check. If you bought anything, go check your statements. It may not be a bad idea to go ahead and get that replacement card, or not be surprised when one shows up.
Right. The other interesting thing about this is the scope is and actually I'm looking for an update.
I think they're still trying to determine.
I don't think that they know yet exactly how big this is.
Well, a lot of people don't understand what goes into really what happens when a site is hacked. When personal information, or personal identifiable information, the PII, when that's taken, there is a huge inquiry, and you actually have to do tons of data dumps, backups, investigations. I mean, there's a large amount of effort that goes into figuring out what goes on, and a lot of the times, until the investigation is over, they won't disclose anything except your data may have been taken.
Right.
And that's really all they can say until they know the full amount of damage. So I imagine this investigation is probably pretty big.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, and I'm sure that we'll know more as soon as they have completed their investigation.
Absolutely.
So if you did buy something, you may keep your eye out. Be careful though, because sometimes on these big profile scams, then like the big profile hacks beget a scam.
Right.
So
right after that,
you got to be kind of careful. If you start getting weird things in your email, kind of be considerate of that.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's it for security. Kind of short.
Yeah, but that's good though.
Didn't have a lot.
Good. Yeah.
Wanted to talk about this. Google has launched a dedicated home for VR experiences on the web.
Yeah, they have been pushing WebVR pretty heavily lately, and this makes sense because your VR options were really limited before, and everyone's really trying to jump on this whole let's make VR work.
Right.
I'm still not entirely sold on the why yet, but that seems to be the new marketing dream, is to let's get VR to really get people going. And so as part of that, the web is a wonderful platform for pushing just about any kind of technology. True. And a lot of it's already been there. WebGL was the original kind of, a 3D type engine, but WebVR is similar. It builds on a similar model, but there's differences. If you're a developer and you want to get started, go look at A-Frame. That's probably the easiest way to jump in. It takes a lot of the work out. But it is pretty cool. I mean, if you're into that and you want to play with it and go check it out, it's awesome that Google has this page available.
It is, and it's actually a pretty cool page.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just got a few things on there because there's not a whole lot of them out there, I don't think. But
no, there's the problem with WebVR is you still have meshing that you have to do, and the problem is because of the payload and the device you're using, you don't have as much power as say a PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One.
Right.
So you've got to keep things kind of light and limit the amount of vertices, et cetera, that are going on. And so they're simpler type games. They remind me a lot of like the Wii type of graphics, right? Lesser hardware, something that your phone could run. So it's evolving. We're getting there.
Cool. Something else that Google is doing. Octane, the JavaScript benchmarking tool or
Octane.
Standard. Octane, yeah.
Yeah, I used to use that because there was one called Patriot that was awesome, and then I can't remember who ran that one, but they shut it down. So then you had Octane. That was the only thing you could use, and that's kind of sad.
Turns
but
out
it makes sense why.
Turns out everyone cheats on that. It kind of reminds me of the acid test for browsers.
Yes.
And then all the browsers started cheating on acid test, and so you couldn't tell which ones really were acid compliant, which ones were not.
Well, and that's, we've talked about that. So as developers, we always talk to our QA department, and we let them know, you need to test this your way. Don't ask me for hints or tips, because I programmed it to pass the way I use
my test.
My stuff will always pass my tests. But you need to throw in other tests or look at it the way I wouldn't, so that we can figure out if it's really broken.
Right, and that Octane came from that need.
Mm-hmm.
It came from a need for a new JavaScript test, because the old one, which was actually from the Safari team, was being gamed so hard.
Yep,
It was easier to game, but so this became the standard. Now Google's kind of saying, you know what, it's really not. It's not developing. It's not giving us useful information anymore. So they're gonna go ahead and sunset that and go ahead and quit doing that test.
And they should. I mean, really, there's a lot of ways you can cheat these online types of tests. And then the problem is you flaunt your Octane score, your SunSpider, whatever you have. And like you say, I mean, Samsung did this originally with one of their processing chips. They built a specific that when it was on that test, it ran things differently. Right. So it gave it a game score. I mean, other chip makers have done that before as well. So sad to see it go, but
I understand why. It's unfortunate though. It's an unfortunate thing. I mean, it's actually the same as like all the speed tests too.
Well, and that's, I mean, if everyone remembers when the MacBook Pro, the brand new one, dropped, they had the same issue. What was it? It wasn't PC World. Consumer Reports gave it a do not buy, and I was like, what? And they went back and figured out that the test Consumer Reports was using was not the test that the MacBook Pro developers were using. And so they had to figure out, okay, let's fix whatever you're doing. In other words, let's help game your test so that it looks better. Now, the good news was they actually did find some problems and some ways they were doing things. But if you're going to a benchmark site or you're trying to learn about stuff, it is really important that you actually try to see what they're doing, what their test environment is, especially because someone will say, oh, it's got a 14-hour battery life, unless you watch a movie.
Exactly. Under what conditions? Really, for any test, that's the question you need to ask yourself next.
Right.
Is under what conditions do I really get this performance? Because that's the same, of laptop. Your laptop performs better when it's plugged in. Right. So where do they do the benchmarks?
Oh, they're going to plug it in.
They're going to plug it in.
Yeah.
Now, are you going to run it plugged in every time? No.
Oh no.
So, and then for the battery test, they do exactly the opposite. They're going to cut every single corner that they can.
Yeah, they're going to get the screen dimmed to one notch.
Change everything. You're looking at like a tiny little screen.
They're going to switch you switch your background so it's black.
Right.
So there's no extra energy on white pixels.
Yeah.
And
yeah, it's
that's what you're going to
do. And I get it, but that's kind of what you have to look at as anytime you're looking at test results. You just have to kind of think to yourself, is this real test results, or does
it apply to me and my usage?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so I really loved this. You probably have heard of it by now. But,
you should have.
Burger King went evil.
They did.
They bought a 15-second spot and said, you know what? We've got a 15-second spot, and it's just not enough time for us to tell you about how awesome our sandwiches, the Whopper, the Burger King
was
Whopper.
Yes.
So then they said, okay, Google, what is the Whopper, or what is the Whopper sandwich? Oh, and I just turned.
I had to check my phone to make sure you didn't trigger mine. I was okay.
Well, it should be, Anyway, the point is they did this intentionally, knowing that they were going to activate Google
because
Home units.
Home will run out to Wikipedia and it'll start reading the first paragraph.
Right. And if you listen to the way that the ad was worded, it's really awkward, and they had to do it that way.
Yes.
To get it to not look at what is a Whopper, which is a completely different question. A lie or a large something large.
Yeah, or the Whopper, like wasn't there candy called the Whopper that was a malt with chocolate? So yes, they had to word it specifically to get the sandwich. And so at first you're like, well, that's a little devious, but they took it another step. I don't know if you've looked into that.
No.
But so people got onto Wikipedia and started editing, but there's one specific edit that actually really embellished how amazing the Whopper sandwich is, and talked about all the reasons why it's the best hamburger you can get in America. And they looked at the edit, and oddly enough, the edit had just about the same name with like a 1, 2, 3 on the end as the current CEO of Burger King.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's probably, the thing is that's kind of rogue marketing.
It's intrusive marketing.
It's kitschy enough that you're kind of like, that's kind of funny the first time.
Yeah.
The unfortunate thing is other people are going to do this.
Oh yeah, yeah. And this is what we've talked about, right? So you were really into voice control.
Yeah.
We've talked about phones, that you want one that just only has a voice interface, and I'm still kind of And my problem with that is because that'd be great if you were the only person who could use it.
Well, and your Google detection on your phone does look at the voice print. Like it tries to figure out.
It's been getting better over the years.
It's
For example, when you talked, your phone triggered, mine didn't.
Exactly.
So I mean,
we're sitting here right next to each other.
We're getting better, but at the same time.
I know, and that is but see, and that goes back to they probably shouldn't be doing these kinds of things yet.
Right.
If ever. I mean, I feel like that's really come on, guys, you can do better than this.
I agree.
And what makes me really happy is my next story. Google shut them down.
They did. It was like within
the same day.
No. It was within minutes.
Yeah, once they figured out what they had done.
Oh yeah.
Like this it worked the first time. Yep. Google shut it down, and it does not work anymore. So if you play the commercial, it will not search for the Whopper sandwich.
Exactly. Just doesn't do it.
Which, I mean, I think that's awesome because Google needs to send the message
that is a quick response. They're not going to tolerate it.
We're not going to tolerate it.
It's just not going
to happen. If you do this, it's not going to work. Yep. It kind of reminds me when I first got my Amazon Echo. I actually had, I watch Hulu and get commercials. At the time, they didn't have Hulu, no commercial yet.
Right. Yes. Before I remember that.
So I know it's hard to remember getting commercials on Hulu. Every once in a while, you get one before at the end, but
Yeah.
Anyway, and it would play an Amazon Echo commercial, and it would trigger my Echo. And the first time it did, I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool," because my Echo would do whatever they were doing on the screen.
Yeah.
My Echo was doing it. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
It got so annoying.
Yeah.
That I'd mute
all the commercials
when the commercials would come on.
Which is the absolute opposite of what advertisers want.
Exactly.
They don't want you to turn off the audio because then you're left to just the visual.